Everyone, number one Marmaduke fan here. My backpack's falling over. I've got 7 minutes before my bus gets here. I've really been missing doing comic book reviews. Last night I was just reading Postmodern Theory and I looked up feeling sad about what poison it was. And I said, wait a second, this is a comic book review channel. And so today we're looking at Zero Jumper from Alternate Comics. This is issue number 1. And this is a big old move the needle push. My sell on this is if you like Star Wars and you are missing the magic of Star Wars in the new trilogy, and if the lame art in the Marvel Star Wars comic book just isn't doing it for you, Zero Jumper has the appeal of a Star Wars story. It moves fast. It's a simple heroic fantasy with a cool space vibe to it, and the art is killer. So we got Patrick Mulholland writing and drawing. Mulholland has what I'd call kind of like a mashup style. It's not quite manga. It's not quite Western comics. It's not quite Disney. It's just sort of a solid, good-looking cartoon style, which I think fits well. And there are some neat little plot twists in this, so consider this your spoiler warning. The spoiler-free review of this book is really solid, really quickly paced, fun, simple space adventure story with good art, and for $1.50. With that, now we're doing spoiler review, so I can talk about the art. So opens up kind of with an interesting premise. We're not quite, they don't tell you the female character's name until the end, so that might be a minor spoiler. But so our unnamed female protagonist has hinted that she's on some kind of quest to she's going to fulfill a promise, and what will happen is she will die fulfilling this promise. Okay, so there's some death, there's some drive here. That's interesting. And she shows up on this planet. Now, so far it's just her and her little robot, whose name we learn is Io. And what I like about the action of this book is that she does do some like amazing, punching and jumping type of things, but she has limits. Her limits are her suit's energy. So her fighting style is about kind of like getting in a quick hit and then running away and jumping over her opponents, getting to her location and getting the heck out of there before she runs out of power. So she does cool stuff. She looks cool while she's doing it, but she's not a kind of invincible automaton. And so we quickly learned that her deal is that she can go a few seconds back in time, and she's looking for 0 point energy so she can go back farther in time and undo some bad thing. All right, I'm down for it. Now, just to call attention to the art of this book, lots of motion lines, lots of showing the flow of action. So she jumps off the cliff, and then as she falls, we see several perspectives on her falling with the action lines adding a lot of energy to it. There is some detail. It's not like exhaustive, ridiculous detail, but it's enough detail to give us the flavor of an alien world. And there's some experimental things with panels, but nothing that breaks me out of the flow of the story. So it's just a great blend of visual movement. I think of the story of George Lucas on the set of the first Star Wars movie, telling his actors, faster, faster, better, with more energy, over and over and over again. He wanted a fast-paced, quick story. She kind of approaches this kind of monstrous thing, and boom, it's an evil giant robot, and look at this. The ground is bending up to, it's abstract, but it's kind of creating the sense that she's small, and the earth is kind of rupturing around her. The feet of this beast are huge, larger than her. And we get the sense that even though this is, not much bigger than her just on the page, it feels big based on this great perspective shot. The color also is a great fit. Lots of green, lots of pink. It's well separated so you can kind of visually keep track, especially on newsprint where the color sort of softens a bit. I would have even have punched up the intensity of the color a little bit more. All of this is a little bit pastel colored. But the use of color is smart and sensible for a newsprint comic, even if the intensity isn't exactly what I'd like. The fundamentals of color theory are really good for this book. And then another fight where she kind of does the same thing, where she's got to run away because she's not an invincible automaton. She's got to get around and get to a good spot, and badam, she does something awesome. Now, spoiler. The bad guy shows up. She gets back to her home base. You ready, guys? Spoiler. Go get this comic. Only watch this if you are the type who likes having things spoiled. The Earth has been blown up. That's what she wants to go back and undo. So all this time we've just been kind of following her, having a vague idea of what she's about. She's the last human alive, and she wants to save planet Earth, and she's going to die doing it. That's virtue. That's drama. That's pathos. Dope. So I'm thinking a lot about like Mary Sue characters and the politicization of the term Mary Sue. Feminists hate the term Mary Sue. They see that as like a cryptic code that you hate women or something. And what I think about is, a lot of male action characters, they're not like studies of the flaws of the human psyche or anything. They're not Shakespearean dramas. They're simple stories about guys going on adventures and saving people. This story about a girl going on adventure and saving people. Well, I don't see what her, terrible gripping flaws are, but I don't need to. This is a fun, fast-paced action story. And what makes her not a Mary Sue is that she has to struggle and be smart and judicious in how she overcomes problems. She's not all powerful. She's not the all-powerful God Queen. So totally dope. I've got issue 1 and issue 2. I will be getting issue 3 and issue 4. Zero Jumper #1 by Patrick Mulholland. If you get it, at me on Twitter. Let me know. Use the hashtag #MoveTheNeedle if you get this comic because of me. And let the creators know and let Alterna Comics know if I encourage you to go get this comic. I'm #1 Marmaduke fan. I love you guys. Comic book reviews are back, baby. I'll catch you later.